My husband and I loved each other until old age. After he passed away, I discovered his diary. It was filled with his love for Lin Meow Meow. But because I had sponsored his education and he owed me a debt of gratitude, he couldn't betray me. They had no fate in this life and could only reunite in the next. Lin Meow Meow was the daughter of our family's nanny living a second life. I decided to let them be together. The September weather was no longer so hot during the break between classes. I stood by the playground, gulping down mineral water. In my previous life, after reading Xiaoming's diary, I passed away peacefully. Just a few days later, I had hoped to meet my husband in the underworld and clear things up with him. If he doesn't love me, he can just say it outright. I'm not someone who can't live without him. After the divorce, he could have easily gotten together with Lin Meow Meow in his past life, without having to leave regrets and pray for a marriage in the next life. But I never expected that when I opened my eyes, I was back in high school. Recalling the contents of my diary from the past life, I felt a dull ache in my heart, along with an uncontrollable sense of disgust. Xiaoming and I, along with Lin Meow Meow, were classmates in high school. It was our senior year, the time to sprint for the college entrance exam, but he had to drop out because of his grandmother's medical expenses. He was a top student, ranking first every year. Everyone believed he would definitely get into Tsinghua or Peking University and have a bright future. I couldn't bear to see a talent buried because of money, so I took the initiative to cover his grandmother's medical expenses and supported him through high school, college, master's, and doctoral studies. Xiaoming lived up to expectations. As soon as he graduated, he entered the National Research Institute and eventually became a renowned scientist. In between, we got married, had children, and grew old together in love. If I hadn't read his diary, I would never have known that the one he truly loved was always Lin Meow Meow. My support for him became a shackle that forced him to love me. But when I supported him, I never expected anything in return. I simply didn't want to waste a talented person. It was he who, after accepting my support, took the initiative to tutor me in my studies, and after we got into college, actively pursued me. Every time I think about my past life, how he was thinking of Lin Meow Meow while being intimate with me, I feel like throwing up too. Jiai, look, it's Senior Xia, Lin Meow Meow whispered excitedly in my ear. I followed the sound and saw Xiaoming standing in the shade of a tree. He looked young and shy at that moment, but it couldn't hide his handsomeness. A familiar, piercing pain welled up in my heart again. After all, I had loved him for decades, but he doesn't look very happy, Lin Meow Meow said softly, then volunteered, let me go ask if he's having any trouble. She was always like that, warm and kind-hearted. Lin Meow Meow was Aunt Chen's daughter. When I was 10, something happened to her family. Her husband passed away unexpectedly, and she and Lin Meow Meow were kicked out by her in-laws, leaving with nothing. Aunt Chen had no choice but to bring her daughter along to work. My parents initially disagreed, but 10-year-old Meow Meow was cheerful and warm to everyone, chattering away like a lively oriole. My parents were soon won over by her and grew fond of her. Learning that we were the same age, my parents immediately decided to keep Aunt Chen on and let little Meow Meow be my companion, and so she moved into our home, going through elementary school, middle school, and high school together with me. Thinking that Aunt Chen was having a hard time, my parents covered her tuition and living expenses. She was petite, and at this moment, standing in front of Xiaoming, she looked up at him, saying something with a bright smile on her face. Xiaoming once mentioned in his diary that it was Lin Meow Meow's concern this time that made this little girl take root in his heart. Her fiery enthusiasm was like a bright sun, illuminating his gloomy world. Before long, Lin Meow Meow ran back and shared the news she had gathered with me. With a look of disappointment, she said, Jiai, Xiaoming is going to drop out of school. His grandmother is seriously ill and needs 100,000 yuan for surgery, but his family is too poor, so he has to quit school and work to earn the money. Then, as if she had made up her mind, she tentatively asked me, Jiai, can you lend me 50,000 first? I have 50,000 now, and I want to lend it to him to tide him over. He studies so well, it would be such a waste for him to drop out like this. It was the same in my past life. Hearing this, I smiled and said, I've seen how hard it was for you to save that 50,000, don't waste it. Let me handle the charity this time. Without a second thought, I transferred this month's allowance to Xiaoming, telling him to use it for his grandmother's treatment first. My family founded a large local supermarket chain. While we weren't the wealthiest, we were certainly well off. 3. Hearing the same words now, I shook my head apologetically. Have you forgotten that I donated all my money when the floods hit Jin County a couple of days ago? Since Xiaoming saw my support as a shackle, I would put the money to better use. In this life, I wouldn't hold him back. As for his connection with Lin Miao Miao, they would have to nurture it themselves. Oh, right, Lin Miao Miao said, tapping her head. How could I forget about that? But she had a solution. She started a fundraiser right at school. Xiao Ming didn't stop her, but his expression soured. It made sense. He had always been proud. In the previous life, only Lin Miao Miao and I knew he had wanted to drop out when his grandmother fell ill, before he even had the chance to submit his withdrawal application to the school. I had already solved his problem, allowing him to continue his studies with dignity, and Lin Miao Miao's move almost made his situation public. I didn't realize you were going through such a tough time. Here's half of my living expenses for this month, said Xiao Ming's deskmate. He was a rich second-generation kid who usually didn't study hard and consistently ranked last in the class. The teacher had paired them together, intending for Xiao Ming, the top student, to help the struggling student improve, but Xiao Ming looked down on him and wouldn't bother with him unless he took the initiative to ask questions. At that moment, someone he had always looked down upon cast a sympathetic glance his way, leaving Xiao Ming feeling both helpless and humiliated. Yet the other person meant no harm, so he didn't even have a reason to vent his frustration, especially since it was 30,000 yuan, and so, a little from you, a little from me, along with Lin Miao Miao's 50,000. The scattered donations eventually added up to over 100,000. For Xiao Ming not only had his grandmother's surgery done but was also able to continue his studies. One day, right after evening self-study ended, Lin Miao Miao rushed over to me with a smile. Jai, I have good news. Xiao Ming said he can tutor me, and I got a spot for you too. I stepped back, holding her off with my hand. Ever since I found out about his feelings for her, I felt a rift between us and can no longer be as close as before. I smiled and declined. Thanks, but I've applied to be a day student, so I'm afraid I can't take advantage of the top student's special tutoring. Xiao Ming ended up making the same decision as in his past life, except back then, I was the one he targeted, and he took the initiative to invite Lin Miao Miao. But in this life, facing Lin Miao Miao, it was she who actively asked for a spot on my behalf, which is how I got the opportunity in my past life. He had already shown favoritism in these small matters. I was just blinded by his handsomeness, caught up in it, and failed to notice. Why? Lin Miao Miao's mouth fell open. Why so sudden? It's not that sudden. I only applied for 2 years of boarding in the first place. My parents originally didn't agree to let me board, thinking the dormitory environment was bad and too crowded, but Lin Miao Miao persuaded me to take the chance to experience group life and prepare for college. I thought she had a point, so I insisted on boarding. My parents agreed to let me stay for 2 years, but I had to come home in my senior year of high school. At this moment, I really admire their foresight. Huh, why didn't you tell me? Lin Miao Miao exclaimed in surprise. I frowned, feeling somewhat annoyed by her words. 5 Just then, Hui, my roommate, walked over. She curled her lip and sneered. Oh, who do you think you are? Does the young lady need to report everything to you? That's not what I meant, Lin Miao Miao said, glancing around nervously, not bickering with her usually hostile roommate as she normally would. She was clearly feeling guilty. Hui's words also woke me up. Over the years, Lin Miao Miao always seemed to pry into my personal affairs under the guise of caring about me, down to the smallest details. I never guarded against her and would say whatever came to mind. She knows everything about me, but I know very little about her. This is absolutely terrifying. Then she added, we grew up together, ate and lived together, never apart. Now that you're suddenly moving out, I'm a bit unaccustomed to it. Aunt Chen retired last year, so Lin Miao Miao had no excuse to stay at my house anymore. Even if she also applied to be a day student, she would go back to the old, shabby apartment her mother bought. After all, we're not real sisters. We'll have to part ways sooner or later. Since then, during every break between classes, lunch break, or other free time, Xiao Ming would go over to Lin Miao Miao's side, helping her with difficult problems and organizing knowledge points. And Lin Miao Miao and I were deskmates, so it was hard for me not to know every move they made in this life. Without my interference, Xiao Ming got what he wanted. I thought he would be delighted, but every time he tutored Lin Miao Miao, his face was tense, without a trace of a smile, growing even more aloof. On the other hand, Lin Miao Miao's cheeks were flushed, and her eyes sparkled as she looked at Xiao Ming. I could read the meaning in her gaze: admiration, reverence, and even attachment, because in the previous life, I had looked at him the same way. Sensing my gaze, Lin Miao Miao glanced at me, a clear warning in her eyes. Then she smiled again. Jai, do you want to listen to Xiao Ming explain the problems too? Just say it directly, no need to be so sneaky. People might think you have a crush on our top student, as warm and cheerful as ever. But her words were full of aggression. 6 My face darkened. What nonsense are you talking? The school forbids early relationships, don't slander me. Hoof, she's the one who likes it, and she shamelessly thinks others feel the same. Huey sat behind me, speaking with a sarcastic tone. Lin Miao's face flushed red with anger, but with the top student Xia around, she couldn't throw a tantrum. She gritted her teeth and held it in, though her eyes were red and she looked like she might cry at any moment, pitiful and fragile, the kind of look that most attracts men. Sure enough, Xiao Ming's face grew even colder. He shot a glance at Huey, and though he said nothing, it was enough to freeze someone to death. Huey awkwardly shut her mouth. I lowered my eyes to the book in my hands, but I couldn't suppress the bitterness spreading in my heart. In my past life, after Xiao Ming tutored me in my studies, we often spent time together, and gradually rumors began to spread. Top student Xia is so good to Yao Jiai. Are they dating? No way. The school doesn't allow early relationships. They'd call the parents. Hee, this is between you and me. As long as we don't get caught and deny it to the death, no one can do anything about it. Xia, the top student, is so aloof. Yao Jiai must have been the one pursuing him. What a shameless jerk. It was all talk that worked against me. I was shaking with anger. Stop talking nonsense. Xia is just tutoring me. Is he that kind-hearted? Did you seduce him? The more I refuted the rumors, the fiercer they became. Xiao Ming, however, acted as if nothing was wrong, neither clarifying nor defending me. It wasn't until the rumors reached the school and the teacher called in the parents that my father, in a fury, brought in the company's lawyer and sued several of the ringleaders behind the gossip, finally putting the matter to rest. And now, with just one sarcastic remark from Huey, Xiao Ming immediately stepped in to defend her. Indeed, the difference between love and indifference is painfully obvious. However, I don't have much time left to wallow in self-pity. These days, all I do is study, and study some more. Damn this cruel fate. Why couldn't I have been reborn after the college entrance exam in my past life? I lived to be 80, decades past the exam, and I had long forgotten all the knowledge from back then. But what I'm grateful for is that with a younger mind, my thinking has become sharper. On top of that, I've always had a bit of a knack for learning, so picking things up again has been quick. My grades aren't bad, even in my past life. Without Xiao Ming's tutoring, I could have gotten into a decent undergraduate program, but he was never satisfied, as if failing to push me into Tsinghua or Peking University would be a betrayal of my financial support for him. Driven by his urging, I studied desperately and eventually got into Tsinghua and Peking University with him, but I also developed neurasthenia and have been tormented by insomnia for years. 7. Living a second life, I have a clearer understanding of myself. My parents only have me as their daughter, so I will inevitably take over the supermarket in the future. Combined with the experience of my past life, blindly pursuing a high degree at the expense of health is not advisable for me now. A degree is just the icing on the cake. Therefore, I act according to my abilities, do what I can, and no longer feel anxious, oppressed, or force myself. Living well, eating well, and feeling good, I soon found myself more beautiful and radiant. A completely different person from the dispirited version of me in my past life. Lin Miao was the complete opposite of me. Xiao Ming didn't change his original intention. This time, his benefactor was Lin Miao, so he wanted her to get into Tsinghua and Peking University too. But Lin Miao's grades were only average. If I was just one step away from Tsinghua and Peking University, she was several floors away. I don't know where Xiao Ming got the courage under Xiao Ming's relentless pressure to study every moment. Lin Miao's eyes became sunken, her skin turned sallow, and within 2 months, she had lost all her vitality, drifting through life in a daze. I don't know if it's my imagination, but every time Xiao Ming came to tutor Lin Miao, I felt like someone's gaze kept falling on me. Yet when I looked up, I never caught anyone staring. I shook my head, thinking it might just be an illusion brought on by too much stress, until one Friday, after evening self-study, Lin Miao blocked my way. With a grim face, she lashed out with sharp words. Yao Jiai, don't think you can seduce Xiao Ming just because you're pretty. I was utterly baffled, looking at her huge dark circles and lifeless eyes. I thought she was so tired she was talking nonsense, so I snapped her out of it by slapping the wet towel in my hand onto her face. The chill of the cold water made her shiver, followed by a piercing scream. Yao Jiai, what are you doing? Are you awake now? Look at yourself. What have you become? You're here to study, not to fool around with romance. Have all these years of learning been for nothing? All you talk about is seduction and men. Have you no respect for Aunt Chen and the teacher's teachings? Lin Miao frantically threw away the towel, glaring with red-rimmed eyes. What I do is none of your business, you're in no position to lecture me, mind your own business, and if I catch you seducing again." Before she could finish, I splashed a glass of ice water in her face, jolting her with another shock. "Watch your mouth, ha. Don't forget who's been paying for your tuition and meals all these years," still trying to threaten me. Lin Meow Meow seemed to regain some composure, but not much. She stopped spewing foul language, but the malice in her eyes was unmistakable. "Humph, I have brother Xiaoming's support. I'm going to Qingbei with him, and you're destined to never outscore me. You'll be trampled under my feet." After dropping that harsh remark, she stomped her foot and left. I don't know what magic love has, or what magic Xiaoming has, that could turn a cheerful and lively girl so vicious at the same time. I confirmed one thing. The gaze I felt in the classroom was not imaginary. Xiaoming really was looking at me. Otherwise Lin Meow Meow wouldn't have come to me like a madwoman. I suddenly felt as disgusted as if a cockroach had crawled over me. In my past life, I loved him, but the one he longed for but couldn't have was Lin Meow Meow. In this life, I let him go, and now he's getting restless again. When I got home, I asked my dad to use his connections and money power, and by the next day, I had transferred to Class 2 of Senior 3. Class 1 and Class 2 are both top-tier classes, sharing the same set of teachers, so the quality of education won't decline. But I didn't let my guard down against Lin Meow Meow. In this life, I haven't had much contact with Xiaoming, yet she already showed extreme hostility. So what about in my past life? I couldn't help but recall the rampant rumors. At the time, 5 people were particularly vocal, but I didn't know any of them. How did they find out about Xiaoming and me? I didn't want to think the worst of people, but Lin Meow Meow's name kept flashing in my mind. I directly used my financial power to bribe the people around Lin Meow Meow. Perhaps my threats worked. As she settled down and stopped causing trouble, she had given all her money to Xiaoming, and if my family cut off her tuition and living expenses, it would be her turn to drop out of school. I successfully completed the college entrance exam. When I was about to check my scores, my dad was sitting on the sofa holding a book and said, "Girl, no need to be nervous. Our family doesn't rely on your college diploma to make money. No matter what score you get, it's fine." I sighed. "Dad, you're holding the book upside down." "Huh, oh." Dad casually turned the book right side up. Mom scoffed. "Old Yao, with an attitude like that, you still have the nerve to comfort our daughter." I sighed again. "Mom, you're using my foundation." "Huh, oh." Dad laughed out loud. Mom glared, seeing that they were about to start a fight. I quickly said, "The results are out. Total score, 702.9. That's 7 points less than in my previous life. If the cutoff score hasn't changed, I just barely won't make it into Tsinghua or Peking University, but getting into University A is a sure thing." This was within my expectations, so I wasn't too disappointed. Dad tossed the book aside, stood up from the sofa, and rubbed his hands together, saying, all right. Dad will definitely throw you a grand graduation banquet." At that moment, the class group chat became lively. I opened my phone and saw a huge pinned message. Lin Meow Meow and Xiaoming had the same score. I slightly opened my mouth and asked in disbelief, "Really?" I wasn't the only one shocked. Quite a few people before me had already expressed doubts. Of course it's true, they both scored 412 points. The person who broke the news was the class monitor, and he answered everyone at that point. A silence fell over the group. Everyone had originally thought Lin Meow Meow would follow Xiaoming into Qingbei University, but it turned out Xiaoming would be following Lin Meow Meow to a vocational college. "Monitor, where did you get this news?" I typed and asked. I still have great faith in Xiaoming's abilities. Even with his eyes closed, there's no way he could have scored so low. "Isn't my family running an internet cafe? The two of them came here together to check their scores, and they haven't left yet," the class monitor replied. "I can vouch for that. I just got to the internet cafe, and Xiaoming and Lin Meow Meow are having a fight," my deskmate said in the group chat, along with a video uploaded. The main characters in it were none other than Lin Meow Meow and Xiaoming. Xiaoming's eyes were bloodshot as he shouted at Lin Meow Meow, "Are you satisfied now? No need to worry about not getting into Qingbei and being separated from me." With that, he slammed his water bottle heavily onto the ground. Lin Meow Meow stood to the side, her face pale. Having lived with Xiaoming for decades in her past life, he had always been aloof and refined, never losing his composure like this before. "Does anyone know what happened? The top student really messed up badly. Did he fall asleep during the exam?" someone asked curiously. "First-hand news, and it's true." Suddenly, someone with the tag, Class 3, Senior Year, said, "Hey, how did a traitor get into our class?" Someone remarked. The class monitor quickly explained, "He's not a traitor. He's Xiaoyi, the top student's roommate and also a classmate in the same exam room. The story he told was too long for me to bother retelling, so I temporarily added him here. As soon as the class monitor finished, a string of thumbs-up emojis followed. Then I'll continue, Xiaoyi said, hee. Although it wasn't said outright, everyone should know that Xiaoming and Lin Miaomiao are a couple. The top student gives Lin Miaomiao extra lessons every day, but the materials for these lessons don't come out of nowhere. After returning to the dorm each day, Xiaoming has to organize things until 2 or 3 in the morning before going to sleep. Even on the 2 days of the college entrance exam, it was no exception. We all advised him to rest well, but he said Lin Miaomiao was always afraid she wouldn't get into Tsinghua or Peking University and would be separated from him. To reassure Lin Miaomiao, he had to keep studying the question patterns, predicting and solving problems. Maybe he was too exhausted. On the last day, he fell asleep during both exams. This was something I didn't know. After all, the people I bribed were all the girls around Lin Miaomiao. 10 in September, my parents took me to report at University A, and at the gate, I saw 2 familiar figures. Xiaoming was carrying 2 large suitcases, while Lin Miaomiao had a backpack on her back. Both of them had become thinner and darker. I heard they worked like crazy over the summer break and applied for student loans, just barely scraping together enough for tuition, and their school was the vocational college across the street. Lin Miaomiao also saw me, curling her lips disdainfully. So what if you got into a university? If you're so capable, try getting into Tsinghua or Peking University, I sneered. A university indeed can't compare to Tsinghua or Peking University, but it's still better than a vocational college. Lin Miaomiao's face flushed instantly, and she retorted in anger, what are you so proud of? We just had an off day and ended up in a vocational college temporarily. We'll upgrade to a bachelor's degree, then a master's, then a doctorate. We'll definitely surpass you. As students from financially struggling families, none of them could afford to retake the college entrance exam. Attending a vocational college was forced upon them, yet it was also their best option. I glanced at Xiaoming. If he had an off day, I could believe it, but Lin Miaomiao, that's about her level. I wondered if, after experiencing the college entrance exam, he would still drag her forward. Xiaoming, growing impatient, came over and grabbed Lin Miaomiao's hand. Enough, haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Hurry up and register, or we'll miss out on the good dorm beds. Seeing Xiaoming appear before me, Lin Miaomiao suddenly became nervous. She first stepped between me and Xiaoming, then grabbed his hand and hurried him away. My father frowned. When did she become like this? Isn't it said she's having a puppy love? I'm afraid that boy led her astray, Mom speculated. Alright, no matter what she does, it has nothing to do with us anymore. I coaxed my parents and entered University A with them. After graduating from college, I didn't pursue further studies and devoted myself entirely to our family supermarket. On Mom's birthday, Dad booked a restaurant early, and I ordered a cake. When dinner time came, I took the cake straight to the restaurant, pushing open the door to the private room. Instead of my parents, I found a young man with a British style inside. I looked up at the room number, 888. That's right. A bit puzzled, I asked, who are you? The man smiled gently. Hello, I'm Feng Jing, your blind date. It suddenly dawned on me. No wonder my parents had been acting strangely these past couple of days. They were secretly plotting this. I couldn't help but find it a bit amusing. It's not like it's something shameful, so why hide it? Hello, I'm Yao Jiai. I introduced myself openly and generously as I walked in. In this life, I no longer yearn for love, but I need a child, and our family needs an heir, so I'm not opposed to blind dates. 11. To my surprise, we had a lot in common and got along very well. Just then, the door to the private room suddenly swung open, and a man in a blue work uniform burst in. His face was slightly dark, and anger mingled with joy. Yao Jiai, I'm your real husband. It turned out to be Xiaoming. Ever since I started college, I've been studying while helping my parents take care of the supermarket, leaving me no extra time to pay attention to those two. I only occasionally heard from old classmates that when they were upgrading from junior college to undergraduate studies, both of them messed up again and failed to get into their desired universities. With no other choice, they had to go work in a factory. At this moment, Xiaoming's hands were covered in machine oil, and his work uniform was dirty. I had no idea how the hotel even let him in looking like that, but what made me nervous and scared was what he said. It seemed like he had also been reborn. I forced myself to calm down and looked at him displeased. So it's you, Xia. For the sake of our old classmates, I won't hold you accountable for what you just said, but please stop spreading rumors. You and I are just ordinary classmates. If I hear any more rumors like that, you'll be facing a lawsuit. I'm not talking nonsense, Xiaoming said, a little agitated. Jiai, you don't know this, but I've actually been reborn. Actually, I had a crush on you back in high school, but Lin Miao Miao has done me a great favor, and she's also extremely possessive of me. I didn't want to let her down, so I forcefully suppressed my feelings for you, but just now, I was reborn, and that's when I realized that in our past lives, we were husband and wife, and we loved each other for a lifetime. You have no idea how happy I am. I thought I would never get to love you, but it turns out I already had you all along in this life. I don't want to leave any regrets. Jiai, will you marry me again? As for Lin Miao Miao, I've already helped her a lot, and it was because of him that I didn't get into college. I consider that debt repaid. 12. My eyes turned cold. Xia, have you been watching too many short dramas? This story is way too far-fetched. Rebirth, why don't you just say you have superpowers? I'm really not lying to you. In my past life, I was a great scientist, and we had a handsome son, but before he could finish, several burly security guards rushed in and pinned him down. Xiaoming was pressed to the ground and shouted at the guards, "What do you think you're doing? Do you know who I am? I'm a national treasure level scientist." I don't know if his mind was overloaded with information from his past life, but he seemed a bit confused between that life and reality. A security guard spat at him, "With clothes like that, you just got off a shift at the steel mill next door, and you call yourself a scientist." The head of the security guards apologized to us, saying, "Mr. Feng, Miss Yao, I'm sorry, it was our oversight. We'll take him away now and won't disturb your meal." It turned out that Feng Jing had called the security guards over. Feng Jing gently comforted me. "Don't be scared, I've seen plenty of people like this. Every day, some woman comes up to me, claiming to be my lover from a past life, wanting to rekindle our romance, but when I check, they're always scammers, just after my money. That guy probably has the same goal, or, to think of something worse, knowing you're an only child, he might even be planning to take over your family's wealth." I was amused by his reassurance and joked, "With talk like that, aren't you afraid I might suspect you of the same thing?" Although it was a joke, I couldn't help but think more about it. Xiaoming might genuinely like me in this life, but what attracted him more could be the practical benefits I could bring in my past life. Besides funding his education through graduate school, I also used all my connections to find him supervisors for his PhD program. Otherwise, how could he have entered the National Academy of Sciences right after graduation? Now, without my support, he has fallen to being an ordinary worker in a steel plant, worrying daily about making ends meet. Can he endure such a fall from grace? It's not like I need your paltry offerings. That was the truth. After all, as President Feng Zheng's family was the wealthiest in the city. Moreover, he was famously self-disciplined, an anomaly in the circle of the wealthy. But how did such a high-quality catch end up in the marriage market? When I voiced this doubt, Feng Jing sighed. "It seems you really have forgotten me." I looked at him in confusion. "Have we met before?" But that's not right. President Feng has been living and studying abroad all along, only returning in recent years to inherit the family business. 13. He stared at me intently and suddenly said, "Fire-stoking girl, sheep-herding girl." My thoughts were instantly pulled back to my grandmother's house. She lived in the countryside, and every winter and summer break, when my parents couldn't look after me, they would send me to that small village. I helped my grandmother stoke the fire and cook, herd the sheep and feed the chickens, with no pressure at all. It was quite pleasant. The only annoying thing was the brat from the neighbor's house, who always gave me nicknames. We got into several fights over it, which ended with me giving him even more nicknames. "You're a little darky, a lump of coal, a charcoal kid." No, that can't be right. How did you get so fair and handsome? 2. Feng Jing tossed his hair and said, This is what they call a man's transformation. Actually, I've liked you for a long time, but I never found the right chance to confess." Looking at his eyes that were full of me, I had to admit that I was damn well falling for him all over again. When it was time to get married, after dating for half a year, we set the wedding date. As luck would have it, Xiaoming and Lin Miao Miao were getting married on the same day as us. Our wedding banquet was held at the best hotel in the city. Feng Jing put a lot of thought into it, making the wedding grand and luxurious. Meanwhile, Lin Miao Miao and Xiaoming were at a small restaurant across from our hotel, which looked rather shabby in comparison. Before the wedding ceremony, I was resting in a hotel room, and through the window, I could see the restaurant across the street. As the music started, a wedding convoy pulled up in front of the restaurant, and Xiaoming helped Lin Miao Miao out of the car. I don't know if they felt my gaze, but they both turned their heads to look over. It was supposed to be a happy occasion, but neither of them had any joy on their faces. Just then, someone came to call me, And the wedding ceremony between Fengjing and me was about to begin after it was over. I was so exhausted that I just wanted to collapse onto the bed, and that's exactly what I did. Fengjing thoughtfully told me to go rest in the guest room, saying the wedding he had prepared would continue until evening and that I should conserve my energy. 14. As soon as I entered the guest room, a knife was pressed against my throat. Lin Miaomiao's eyes were red, her face full of resentment and hatred. Yao Jiai, why are you always so lucky? In your past life, you married Xiaoming, a great scientist, rich and handsome. In this life, I finally got to marry him, but he was a poor man with nothing, not even as good as my marriage in my previous life. In my previous life, she never showed any hostility toward me, we were always good friends, and I consistently supported her education, helped her integrate into our circle, and enabled her to successfully marry into a wealthy family. But it wasn't easy navigating the high society. Although her husband kept the home front stable, he had plenty of affairs outside. The drastic drop in her living standards fueled her jealousy and anger to a raging blaze, causing her to lose her sanity and pick up a knife. Although I was terrified, I didn't dare reveal the fact that I had been reborn, so I frowned and said, "What nonsense are you talking about? My husband is Fengjing. What does that have to do with Xiaoming? Ha, in this life, you indeed have nothing to do with Xiaoming, but you married even better. The Feng family is the richest in this city. Your family doesn't lack money. So why did you have to find someone even wealthier? Why not let me have him? That way, you'd still be rich, and I'd become rich too. Wouldn't that be great? But you just had to go for a power couple merger. What a waste." Although Xiaoming agreed to marry me, his heart and eyes are all for you. We're both human, so why are you so blessed in both past and present lives, and I have to keep suffering? I leaned my head back slightly. Lin Miaomiao, getting excited, had a trembling hand, and the tip of the knife left a scratch on my neck. Just then, a foot came flying with a sharp whoosh. Lin Miaomiao didn't notice and was caught off guard, unable to dodge. A sharp pain shot through her wrist, and the knife flew out of her hand. Fengjing pulled me into his arms and asked anxiously, "Are you hurt?" I touched my neck and said, "It's nothing, not serious." Fengjing looked coldly at Lin Miaomiao. "Ha, past lives again. You've watched too many short dramas, and your stories all follow the same cliché. Since you're so talented, go make up stories at the police station." After the police arrived, Lin Miaomiao was taken away. She was sentenced for intentional injury. Xiaoming also divorced her, but he remained frustrated and unfulfilled, ending up as an ordinary laborer in his old age. The end. That's the end of the first story. Don't go away. The next story is even more exciting. In this life, Gu Nanchuan said he would stay in the countryside with his childhood sweetheart. Without hesitation, I packed my bags and returned to the city. He said he didn't want to settle down until he had established his career. I turned around and agreed to my parents' arrangement to marry the blind date. Later, he demanded that I find a job for his childhood sweetheart before he would marry me. I, heavily pregnant, accompanied my fiancé to visit the educated youth left in the countryside and happened to run into him. At that moment his eyes reddened again as he questioned, "Weren't you supposed to wait for me?" Wait, what a joke. I, a proud descendant of a revolutionary family, why should I wait for a man with nothing to his name? Mom, Dad, I plan to return to the city in a week, and I'm willing to marry Brother Fu. There was a clear pause on the other end of the line, then came an exclamation of surprise. Ibao, really, have you truly come to your senses, no longer entangled with that poor guy Gu Nanchuan? Are you really willing to come back to the city, back to Mom and Dad, and get to know Fu? Ziheng, I nodded, and she emphasized, Brother Fu is wonderful, no need to consider further, I'm willing to marry him. In my past life when I was framed to death by Gu Nanchuan and his little childhood friend, it was Fu Ziheng who comforted my parents. It was also he who helped collect my body and clear my name. Moreover, he supported my parents for the rest of their lives. Such a debt of gratitude is hard to repay, even by bearing him children. Besides, we also share a childhood bond. Marrying him is something I do willingly. Good, that's good. I'll buy you a ticket right away. Inform the Fu family immediately, and start arranging your wedding at once. My mother's voice was choked with sobs she couldn't hide. My father's sighs also reached my ears one after another. I know, they had been very worried about me, worried that I would love but not be loved in return, worried that I would suffer losses by Gu Nanchuan's side, worried that I couldn't endure the hardships of the countryside. It was my fault. In my past life, I actually abandoned my loving parents for a man, ignoring them completely. Mom, Dad, from now on I will listen to you well and stay by your side to take care of you. In this life, I will definitely be happy, definitely. I've made it clear to Song Yi, if she can't get you transferred to the city, I won't go back with her either. She should be trying to secure a spot for you now. I had just returned to the staff dormitory from the phone booth. That's when I overheard Gu Nanchuan's tender and affectionate words to Li Panner inside the dorm. Brother Nanchuan, I feel sorry for you. Sister Yi will probably quarrel with you over this again. You two just made up. Li Panner's eyes were slightly red, wearing a pitiful expression. Gu Nanchuan shook his head and comforted her. Your parents passed away early, we grew up together, and I've always seen you as my own sister. Sister. It's only right for a brother to do these things for his sister. Yi should have been more generous too. When Li Panner heard the word sister, a hint of loneliness flickered in her eyes, but soon, her charming expression returned. If all goes well, we should be heading to the city with the educated youths in about a week. These past few days, I should also inform my students, and the teachers I've worked with. Yi's parents have a lot of influence, as long as Yi speaks up. Returning to the city shouldn't be a problem. We've been here for 3 years, and have received a lot of care from everyone. It's only right to let them know, otherwise, we'd seem too cold-hearted. Li Panner then came up with an idea. She wanted to take advantage of her upcoming birthday in a couple of days to host a small gathering, inviting the teachers and leaders from the office for a meal. As a way to make things clear, Gu Nanchuan was very supportive. It's just that I'm a bit short on cash right now. Brother Nanchuan, could you lend me a little? Before Gu Nanchuan could speak, Li Panner tapped her own head again. Oh, I forgot. Brother Nanchuan already gave me all of last month's salary to help the students from financially struggling families. This is really awkward. Gu Nanchuan thought for a moment and then said, it's okay. Yi should still have some. I'll get a bit from her for you. Li Panner smiled knowingly. Thank you, Brother Nanchuan, and sorry to trouble you and Sister Yi again. Gu Nanchuan patted Li Panner's head, his eyes full of affection. I walked into the female staff dormitory at an inopportune moment. You're back. Li Panner greeted me, but I ignored her. Gu Nanchuan frowned, but unlike other times when he would scold me for being rude, he reached out his hand to me and said, in a couple of days, it's Panner's birthday, and we want to throw a birthday party, and also say goodbye to the school leaders and teachers. We don't have enough money. Do you have any extra? I packed my luggage, my voice cold. No. Gu Nanchuan curled his lips. How could you not have any? Didn't you just get paid? I looked up and glanced at him. I spent it, just like you guys, however I wanted. Gu Nanchuan pressed his lips together tightly. Li Panner, who was standing nearby, rolled her eyes and sidled up to me, taking my arm and flattering me. Sister Yi, it's just that, the 3 of us are about to head back to the city soon, so we thought we'd use my birthday as an excuse to throw a farewell party. It's a way to say goodbye to the colleagues we've worked with for the past 3 years. Nanchuan and I gave our salaries to those impoverished students of mine, so we had to trouble you. How interesting. What does it mean to use Li Panner's birthday as an excuse for a farewell party? A farewell party is a farewell party. Why does it have to be tied to her birthday? No money to sponsor any underprivileged students. No money. Yet still wants to treat others to dinner and play the big spender. I responded coldly. Actually, it's not that troublesome. Seeing me relent, Li Panner's joy was written all over her face. Sister Yi, since you said that, the matter of returning to the city should be settled too. Gu Nanchuan let out a long sigh of relief. Then I'll go book a private room at Zhou's restaurant later, and in the afternoon, I'll head to the office to inform the leaders and colleagues, including the 3 of us. There will be about 20 people, so 30 yuan should be enough. When Gu Nanchuan said this, he deliberately looked at me, as if asking whether I could come up with 30 yuan. Seeing that I didn't show much reaction, Li Panner added, among the 20 people, there are many male colleagues, so drinking is inevitable. 30 yuan might be a bit too little. Sister Yi, if it's 60 yuan, everyone might eat better. I nodded along with her words. The smile on her face grew even more unrestrained. Gu Nanchuan felt it was inappropriate but said nothing. I added, since it's a birthday, it would be best to have a cake, don't you think? Gu Nanchuan immediately vetoed it. Cake is too expensive, let's forget it. Besides, there's no cake in the countryside. Li Panner's eyes sparkled like stars. Don't say that, Brother Nanchuan. I've never had cake in my whole life. Sister Yi, since she said she could help me get a cake, she must have a way. I want to eat it. Gu Nanchuan looked at me again with a troubled expression. I remained calm. Of course there's a way. I have the number of a cake shop owner in the city. If I give him a call, he should be able to send it over to us. Li Panner was so excited she could barely contain herself, as if she wanted to spin around in circles on the spot. Seeing how happy she was, Gu Nanchuan didn't even care how much a cake cost or how much it would cost to have it delivered from the city to the countryside. In the end, as Gu Nanchuan was about to leave the female dormitory, he said to me with particular tenderness. I feel like you've become sensible overnight, so much so, I'm really glad you can treat Pano like this. I'll talk to my mom later and arrange for our families to meet as soon as possible. I shook my head. No need. He spoke earnestly. Even though my mom looks down on you, I still hope you can change her opinion of you. I'll work hard with you together. I chuckled lightly, truly not understanding. What right did Gunanchuan's disabled, severely ill, illiterate mother have to look down on me? When you talk to your parents, try to humble yourselves a bit in front of my mom. That way, both families can sit down and have a good discussion about our wedding. My parents were lifelong, upright revolutionaries who never bowed their heads in their entire lives. Why should they lower themselves to Gunanchuan's mother in the afternoon? I arrived at the office. Gunanchuan had already announced to everyone in the office about the gathering 2 days later. Everyone's faces were filled with joy. Li Panner also urged me to use the school's public phone booth to call the cake maker in the city. I did not disappoint her. During the break, I contacted the cake maker. The largest size, enough for 20 people, make the frosting as fancy as possible, include candles and plates, and add wishing on top. Happy 23rd birthday, Li Panner. Also, that little music box that plays birthday songs should be sent to Zhouji state-run restaurant on Sangji Street in Honghu Town at 6:30 p.m. Just tell the front desk clerk, and someone will come out to pick up the cake. Li Panner listened to the series of requests I made to the cake master, her eyes brimming with excitement. The call ended. Li Panner took my hand, her eyes reddening around the edges. Sister E, you're really too kind. This birthday banquet is going to be absolutely perfect. I didn't say a word. I let her be moved by it all. Sister E, after you marry brother Nanchuan, could you also introduce me to a good match? Last time, that Mr. Fu who came to your house, does your brother have a girlfriend? I heard his family has served in the military for generations. If there's a chance, I'd like to see Sister E every day. I curled my lips. I don't know where she gets such nerve. Just then, the bell for class rang. Li Panner and I each went to our own classrooms. 2 days later, it was Li Panner's birthday. Despite it being the critical period of midterms for the students, she asked for leave from the school leaders. She made a special trip to the county town to buy a dress, had her hair done, and put on makeup. It was 6:30 as our group walked out of the school. We saw her standing at the entrance of the restaurant to welcome us. She greeted the leaders warmly. You look really beautiful today. Happy birthday. A few thoughtful female colleagues had also prepared small gifts for Li Panner. Li Panner took the gifts. Beaming from ear to ear, the group filed in with great fanfare. Gunanchuan, acting like the host, called the waiter over to serve the dishes. Platters of chicken, duck, fish, and meat. Bowls of fresh hot soup. Everyone was eating with great relish. Li Panner and Gunanchuan were hosting the event, while others chimed in to keep the atmosphere lively. They were celebrating Li Panner's birthday while announcing to everyone that they would soon be leaving the school. A small private room. The place was buzzing with voices. I sat among them, just filling my stomach, waiting to see the drama unfold. Teacher Zhao, sitting next to me, spoke up on my behalf. You've had so many arguments with Gunanchuan, yet he still keeps getting so close to Li Panner. Have you given in now? Are you planning to spend the rest of your life in this threesome? I shook my head. Teacher Zhao didn't believe me. This meal costs at least $100, right? Li Panner dresses all flashy every day and spends her entire salary on clothes. She definitely can't afford to pay this. Gunanchuan has a seriously ill mother at home. Even if he helps Li Panner out, it would be hard for him to come up with this $100. So, after thinking it over, it has to be you. How can you put up with this? Teacher Zhao is a bit older than me. She got divorced years ago because her husband cheated. She always sees things between men and women very clearly. She probably didn't want me to end up in the same mess she did, which is why she said all this to me. I laughed. Don't worry, I'm not stupid. Teacher Zhao raised an eyebrow. You're not stupid. Bringing Gunanchuan back to the city was already tough enough, and now you're dragging Li Panner along too. Don't you know your parents might have to kowtow at the relevant government offices for you? I whispered. No way, I'm not that unfilial. Li Panner can't go to the city, and of course, Gunanchuan can't either. Teacher Zhao was taken aback when the waiter pushed the door open at that moment. Who ordered the cake from town? The cake master is waiting outside. Li Panner got excited upon hearing this. It's me. It's me. I'll go get the cake and share it with everyone. Cake was a rare treat. Few of those sitting here have ever tasted it. Hearing there was cake, everyone's eyes lit up. Wow, I'm really living it up now. I actually get to eat cake. I've never seen a real cake in my life. Thanks to you. I'll eat a little less later and take a piece back for my kid. She's been nagging me to try it. The waiter had never seen such a cake before, so upon hearing these words, They couldn't help but play along. This cake is huge, I doubt you two can finish it all by yourselves. Let alone, after you've all finished eating, there's more than enough for each of you to take a piece home. Such a big cake, that must be super expensive, right? Panner's birthday celebration really had some class. Lee Panner walked out of the private room with a beaming smile. Gu Nanchuan followed up, saying, the cake is too big, I'm afraid Panner can't carry it alone, I'll go help. The protagonist has left. The atmosphere in the private room also eased up. Teacher Zhao glanced at me, a lingering look in his eyes. After a moment, Gu Nanchuan came back, walked over to me, and whispered, come out for a moment. The cake chef said they need to confirm the cake order, signed by the person. I sat still in my seat, not moving an inch. Isn't the cake ordered by Lee Panner? She can just sign for it. Gu Nanchuan's expression darkened. That cake wasn't ordered by you over the phone. The pastry chef is still waiting outside. And you, don't waste time, come out now. I let out a soft snort. I made the call, but it was Lee Panner who wanted the cake. Isn't it a bit inappropriate to have me sign for it? Gu Nanchuan pressed his lips tightly together. Lee Panner also walked in, looking pale and haggard. Come out quickly. Just sign the papers so we can bring the cake in for everyone. Let's call it a day. It's not easy for us to get together like this. I sat firmly on the stool and replied, yeah. Hurry up and bring the cake in so everyone can have a piece. Everyone hasn't had the cake yet and can't wait any longer. Teacher Zhao is a smart person. I understood immediately what was going on. She cut straight to the point. Panner, you're not thinking of having E go out and pay for you, are you? Usually, when ordering a cake, the cake was delivered for payment. But isn't this your birthday? Why do you still have to pay for it yourself? Lee Panner's face instantly fell to the ground. No. Gu Nanchuan explained to Lee Panner. Song Yi, didn't you promise Panner you'd give her a birthday cake? Well, here it is now. You're going back on your word again. I feigned surprise. Oh, did I promise to send a cake to Lee Panner? A cake costs at least 200 yuan, and my monthly salary is only less than 30 bucks. Such an expensive cake. How could I ever afford it? Teacher Zhao raised an eyebrow. That's hilarious. Inviting someone for cake, only to make them pay for it. The expressions on the others' faces also darkened. The delivery person who had been waiting outside for a long time finally couldn't wait any longer and came in. He looked displeased and said, whose cake is this? Is anyone going to step up and pay? It's 231 yuan in total. I came all the way from the city. I drove 2 hours to get here, so don't make this trip a waste. Lee Panner was on the verge of tears, grabbing my hand and pleading, Sister E, didn't we agree? Why are you backing out at a time like this? You only said you have no money. I shrugged helplessly. I always thought you had money. Never expected you wanted me to buy one for you. I quickly rummaged through my purse. She shook out all the scattered coins and counted them over and over again. I only have $3.65. I shifted my gaze to the others. How about we all chip in together first, scrape together enough for the cake money. Don't make Panner feel awkward. It's her birthday, and she'll definitely want to be happy. I haven't finished speaking yet. Teacher Zhao's sarcastic remarks began. Who would carry such a huge sum of money when going out? At most, they'd have just a few dollars on them. You, on the other hand, block me $3, and together we'd only have $60. This cake costs over 200. Who can scrape together that much? Besides, even if, with all that money, who would spend it on a cake? Buying a refrigerator or a TV is far more worthwhile than a cake. Others also frowned. Our monthly salary is only $29.90, so we can't afford a cake that costs over 200. 3 yuan is enough for my family to live on for a whole week. I'd rather go without this cake than chip in for it. What a character. Even if Song Yi's family is rich, you just casually spend over 200 bucks like it's nothing. How shameless. Lee Panner was utterly humiliated by the barrage of remarks from the crowd. She tugged at Gu Nanchuan's sleeve. Brother Nanchuan, this. Sister, she's not keeping her word. What should I do? Gu Nanchuan then vented all his anger on me. Song Yi, do you have to embarrass Panner? If you don't want to give her, if you wanted to buy a cake, just say it directly. Now that the cake is ordered, they want the money, and you have to pay it. Teacher Zhao looked at Gu Nanchuan. Just said she has no money to pay. What do you plan to do? Gu Nanchuan glared at me fiercely. Song Yi, if you don't pay this money, we're breaking up. You'll never marry me in this life, I sneered. Break up? Haven't we already broken up? The moment you refused to return to the city with me, I already considered us broken up. Gu Nanchuan was stunned. What? I refuse to return to the city with you. Lee Panner also snapped back to reality and quickly said, no, that's not it. Nanchuanga said that as long as Sister Yi arranges for me to go to the city too, Nanchuanga will go to the city with you. I spread my hands and said, the slots for returning to the city are in high demand, and this is something I can't handle. What? You've been discussing returning to the city for so long, and you were actually counting on me. I thought you had found another way out. Oh dear, this is a huge misunderstanding. It seems this farewell dinner of yours won't be happening after all. Gu Nanchuan and Li Panner stood there, their postures slightly unsteady. The others couldn't hold back and started whispering among themselves. I was wondering why Li Panner and Gu Nanchuan weren't on the next list of people returning to the city. I thought these two had some real pull. Hilarious. They expected Song Yi to foot the bill for the cake, and now they're counting on her for the return to city slots. Looks like these two are nothing but leeches. Wait, are they expecting Song Yi to pay for this meal too? Teacher Zhao laughed, treating someone to a meal but not paying. How interesting. So this is how some people live their lives, then. She looked at the waiter. Let's settle the bill. How much is this meal? The waiter's face tightened, realizing the seriousness of the situation, and quickly called the landlady over. The landlady pressed the calculator, rounded off the change, and said, the food costs 59 yuan, the drinks are 67 yuan, total 120-6 yuan, who's paying? Teacher Zhao reached into her pocket, handed 3 yuan directly to the landlady, and said, I didn't drink, let's split the bill evenly. I'll pay my 3 yuan. Keep the change, landlady. The landlady looked at the rest of the group. The few female teachers who hadn't been drinking quickly handed over their 3 yuan as well. Among them, the 3 yuan I had placed on the table was given by Teacher Zhao to the landlady. The landlady raised her eyelids high. What about the rest? The group of male teachers who had been drinking were so angry their faces turned red. They all started cursing loudly. Damn it, you have no idea what it means to treat someone to a meal, so I'm paying out of my own pocket for your birthday, you motherless, fatherless bastard. Being able to hook up with Song Yi is a blessing you've earned over several lifetimes, yet you're still messing around with this Li Panner. Screw this, Li Panner, you cheap slut, how dare you be so shameless. I fucking want to kill you right now. I will never give you this money. Let Li Panner go sell herself, pay back the restaurant. Every filthy word pierced the ears. The few of us female teachers quickly left the private room, unable to bear such humiliation. Gu Nanchuan resorted to violence. The scene instantly descended into chaos. Taking advantage of the moment when the landlady and the waitstaff were trying to break up the fight, Li Panner slipped out of the private room unscathed, but the cake deliverer man was still there. He grabbed Li Panner and wouldn't let her leave, forcing her to give him money. Li Panner said, I haven't touched this cake either. Take it back. I don't have any money to give you. The delivery driver was furious upon hearing this. He picked up the leftover food nearby and threw it at Li Panner, shouting, if you can't afford to eat, why order cake? Are you crazy? Seeing her new dress stained, Li Panner broke down in tears. She kept shouting, it's over, it's over. A commotion broke out in the restaurant. A patrol officer heard the noise and came in, taking everyone to the station. After an interrogation, Gu Nanchuan needed to compensate the restaurant 200 yuan for the damage caused by the rampage. Li Panner and several male teachers jointly bore the cost of 100 yuan for the food and drinks. As for the cake, although it was ordered in Li Panner's name, I made the phone call, so I had to bear half the responsibility, so I gave the delivery guy over 100 yuan and took half the cake. The families of those male teachers came that night, paid the money, and took them away. Since no one came to bail out Gu Nanchuan and Li Panner, they were still locked up writing a statement of guarantee when we left the police station. Book. Not only is Li Panner finished, but Gu Nanchuan is also going down with her. That's right, blame Li Panner for being clueless. She invited several school leaders over, and now she's hit a wall. Forget about them being locked up for a few days over these few $100. Even if they get out, they're definitely losing their jobs. Teacher Zhao and a few other female teachers gossiped while eating cake. After leaving the police station, I invited them to a small tea house nearby to share the cake. Since it was their first time eating cake, even with the unpleasantness that had happened, they were all quite happy. You've finally gotten your revenge. Don't ever look back. Yeah, with Gu Nanchuan's temperament, he won't have a good life. Go home and let your parents help you sort things out. There will definitely be plenty of talented young men waiting for you to choose from. Then it'll be Gu Nanchuan's turn to regret losing such a big support like you. I smiled faintly. Maybe it's also a relief for Gu Nanchuan. He can finally be with Li Panner openly and legitimately. Teacher Zhao shook her head. Do you know why Li Panner is called Li Panner? I don't know. Teacher Zhao explained. Panner. The Li family has been hoping for a son. Their preference for sons over daughters is ingrained in their bones. even if Gu Nanchuan and Li Pan'er are mutually in love. Li Pan'er's parents might not be willing to let their daughter marry someone like Gu Nanchuan, a poor wretch. They're all waiting for Li Pan'er to marry into a wealthy family so the whole clan can rise with her, other teachers also said. These two may seem flirtatious, but in reality, neither is willing to give up their future and prospects. Gu Nanchuan won't take Li Pan'er, and Li Pan'er looks down on Gu Nanchuan. Rest assured, these two, TSK, will probably be entangled without any official status for a lifetime. Setting aside Gu Nanchuan and Li Pan'er, we then chatted about many interesting things that had happened over the past few years, ordering a pot of tea, paired with cake. A sense of reluctance rippled through us. After all, I'm about to leave also. There probably won't be any chance to come back. These 3 years, apart from Gu Nanchuan and Li Pan'er, that pair of scumbag and bitch. The other colleagues were very good to me, especially the female colleagues. 3 days later, I boarded the bus back to the city in my arms. I held the souvenirs given to me by the female teachers. There were hand-knitted scarves and sweet local specialties, of course. The students I taught for 3 years also folded a box of stars and gave them to me. These I will keep forever. They are also a part of my memories, with joy, sweetness, hardship, and sadness brewing within. All of it is youth. When the bus left, my colleagues and I waved goodbye. It was a very touching scene. If only Gu Nanchuan hadn't suddenly appeared, how harmonious it would have been. But Gu Nanchuan not only showed up, he also chased after the bus for several blocks. He shouted my name while urging the bus to wait, but the bus wasn't his family's property, so why should it stop just because he said so? In the end, the bus sped away faster and faster. Gu Nanchuan could no longer keep up. He roared at the sky, and through the glass and the howling wind outside, I seemed to hear the words, "Wait for me," but what was I waiting for him for? Perhaps you can just wait for him to die. Coming out of the station from a distance, I saw Fu Ziheng standing by the military vehicle. He stood tall and upright, exuding righteousness among the crowd. He was already a standout presence. Everyone who passed by him, whether men or women, young or old, would look up at him. In the past, my heart and mind were completely occupied by Gu Nanchuan, so naturally, I overlooked this neighbor brother who had taken care of me since childhood. In terms of family background, Gu Nanchuan doesn't measure up. In terms of appearance, Gu Nanchuan doesn't measure up either. In terms of character, Gu Nanchuan is even worse. So why on earth was I so blind back then? I let out a self-deprecating smile. The luggage in my hands had already been taken by Fu Ziheng. Have you been waiting long? I had already requested leave, but something came up at the last minute. Don't blame me. I shook my head. No, I just saw you as soon as I got out of the station. It's not late, perfect timing. He smiled knowingly, his cheeks slightly flushed, looking a bit shy. When your aunt and uncle told me you were coming back to marry me, I didn't believe it at first. Even when my parents and I brought the betrothal gifts to your home, my heart still wasn't at ease, afraid that you were just acting on a whim. He composed himself and looked at me. If marrying me is too difficult for you, it's okay, as long as you can be happy. I looked up. I saw a glimmer of tears in his eyes. His kindness toward me was always thorough and thoughtful. Do you think you can't make me happy? No, of course not. I just heard that I went to the countryside for a man named Gu Nanchuan, and that I refused to return to the city for him. So you think my happiness doesn't lie with you? Or do you resent that I've been in love with someone else? No, absolutely not. His expression grew tense, and for a moment, his tongue was tied. It reminded me of the scene in my past life when, after being framed by Li Pan'er for adultery and drowned in a pig cage, he traveled a great distance to testify for me. To plead my case, I took a deep breath and reached out to wrap my arms around his firm waist. Brother Fu, if you don't like me, we can call off the engagement, but if you do like me, please don't say anything that pushes me away again. Okay. His body stiffened for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice trembled slightly. I will never push Sister Yi away, I promise. A week later, Fu Ziheng and I got engaged. 3 months later, we got married. Even though the Fu family had already prepared a new home for Fu Ziheng and me, and had even specially furnished a wedding house to ensure our comfort as a young couple, the elders still went out of their way to set up a wedding home. But I still chose to live at my parents' house. After all, Fu Ziheng often had to go on missions, so living at home was more convenient for him, and it also allowed him to spend more time with his parents. Fu Ziheng's parents were very open-minded and had no objections to this. Besides, we were neighbors. It's too easy to meet up. Fu Ziheng, on the other hand, would roll around on my bed over and over, saying, "I've had my eye on this bed since I was a kid, and I've dreamed of rolling around on it." now that I've got the girl, I can lie on the bed whenever I want, I asked him. Did you have impure thoughts about me long ago? He let out a sly chuckle. I asked again, how old was I when it started? He hugged me and gave me a kiss. Hard to say. Don't tell me you've had thoughts about me since I was in elementary school. That's not quite it. You were in elementary school, and I was only in middle school. At the time, I just thought the girl next door was really cute and wanted to protect her. That feeling lasted until you grew up. Probably around my first year of high school. A girl confessed to me and I turned her down. She asked what kind of girl I liked, and the first person that came to mind was you. My cheeks flushed. I grabbed a throw pillow and hit him with it. You were in your first year of high school, and I was only in my first year of middle school. First year of middle school isn't that young. For a while, I really regretted not protecting my little treasure well enough, but luckily, you came back. He wrapped his arms around me and pressed his lips close to my ear as we took a deep breath. Our breaths mingled into one. Fu Ziheng had been away on a mission for a month, and I got pregnant when he found out. He was eager to fly back from the ends of the earth to see me. I told him to focus on his work, that there were plenty of people taking care of me at home, and not to worry, but he cried like a child. I'm sorry. I can't be by your side while you're pregnant, and I might not be able to be there when you give birth either. Being with you, thinking that you have to endure the pain because of this child and can't sleep peacefully, and I can't help with anything. I'm sorry. From now on, I will be more careful and attentive, and I will definitely not let you suffer. Later I heard from the Fu family's elders. Ziheng is a sincere person. He felt that by choosing this profession, he was not worthy of love. Back then, it was after you rejected him that he joined the army. Later, when you changed your mind, he was caught in a dilemma. He was all too aware of what this profession would put his partner through, but he couldn't bear to let you go. He once felt that he was being overly selfish. After hearing this, I was deeply shaken, and my heart couldn't calm down for a long time. Gradually, as I missed my husband, the father of my child, my emotions underwent many different changes. I write him letters. I call him whenever I have time. I want him to know, while he's working on the front lines, that I stand firmly behind him. I also want him to know that he has taken deep root in my heart. More than that, I want him to know to protect himself and cherish his life. I will always be waiting for him to come back. 9 months pregnant, my belly is already very big, but when I heard that Fu Ziheng's current camp was in Honghu town, less than a 3-hour drive away, I couldn't help but I boarded the bus to visit him. 3 hours of bumpy ride. Despite the discomfort, there was more joy. He stood at the entrance of Honghu town. From afar, he looked like a pine tree. The bitter winter wind did not make him flinch in the slightest, waiting for me to get off the bus. His eyes were red, and when he spoke, his voice was choked with sobs. Are you tired? Did you get carsick? I shook my head, but somehow tears started streaming down my face. I was supposed to be happy, so why was I crying too? He draped his coat over me and quickly ushered me into the military vehicle. We drove all the way to the camp, a 10-minute walk. His tears soaked the collar of his shirt. Last time I went back, your belly was still flat. In just a few months, it's already this big. Honey, you've been through so much. Seeing him acting like a child, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but this feeling of being cared for and cherished by him was warm and comforting. This afternoon, I need to go to the school in Honghu town. A batch of supplies has been sent from above, specifically for the young people who have come to the countryside here. I've got a mission to escort someone. Do you want to come along? Fu Ziheng had heard me talk endlessly about my old colleagues and students in Honghu town. Naturally, I know how much I miss them. He also told me that Gunanchuan was at the school. He was worried that I might feel embarrassed, so he let me decide for myself. I didn't hesitate. Why would I be embarrassed? I'm doing so well now. If anyone should be embarrassed, it's him. So, in the afternoon, I followed Fu Ziheng's car to the school. My former colleagues all looked utterly shocked when they saw me. It's only been a short while since I last saw you, and your belly is already this big. Oh my God, I heard you got married as soon as you went back. At first, I didn't believe it, but now I have no choice but to. The one who helped you out of the car just now was your husband, right? He's really handsome. Oh my God, how do you have such good taste? Teacher Zhao and the other teachers were joking around, worried that I might get cold outside, so they took me to the office. I hesitated for a moment before entering the office. Teacher Zhao knew what I was worried about and quickly said, don't worry, Gunanchuan and Li Panner were expelled from school long ago. The office is not a place for them to sit. Then, the conversation turned to these two people. Gunanchuan got into a fight with the school leadership that time, and after being released from the police station, he lost his job. After that, he looked for jobs everywhere, but no one would hire him in the end. The principal took pity on him and let him work in the school kitchen. He stayed there for a year, always hoping that he could returning to teaching. So I'm slaving away for the leadership. Gu Nanchuan had always longed for a chance to return to the city, so he saved his wages, hoping to bribe the school leadership. The school leaders didn't think much of his money at all, so they encouraged him to send Li Panner away. He actually listened. At that time, Li Panner was already in a relationship with a local young man from a moderately well-off family and was about to walk down the aisle as a result. Li Panner was outmaneuvered by Gu Nanchuan like this. Li Panner was furious and demanded that Gu Nanchuan compensate her with money. Gu Nanchuan promised that once he returned to the city and won me back, he would give Li Panner enough money, and also promised to introduce her to a better match, allowing her to marry into a wealthy family. Li Panner was also foolish. After breaking up with her boyfriend, she openly started currying favor with the school leaders, but this year has passed. Gu Nanchuan also couldn't return to the city. Li Panner was slapped in public 3 times by the school leader's wife. Li Panner knew that her reputation was completely ruined. She demanded that Gu Nanchuan marry her, but Gu Nanchuan didn't think much of her at all. A tangled mess. After all the entanglements, Li Panner ended up pregnant, and no one even knows whose child it is. Gu Nanchuan is taking Li Panner to get an abortion. Li Panner's parents suddenly found out about this and came all the way from their hometown. A group of people pressured Gu Nanchuan to pay up and marry her. Over the past year, Gu Nanchuan has given all his wages to Li Panner's parents and even signed a betrothal gift IOU worth tens of thousands. Now, it's unclear. How is everything going? I heard that Li Panner has taken up that kind of work, while Gu Nanchuan is still working in the school kitchen. The two of them live together, without any official status, no clear division. It's quite messy, just as he was speaking. Gu Nanchuan, dressed in janitor's clothes, walked in through the door. He came to get the school leader's signatures to receive his salary, but the moment the words left his mouth, he spotted me in the crowd, surrounded by others. His eyes immediately reddened. I curled my lip and didn't even bother to respond to him. He strode over in just a few steps, and Teacher Zhao shielded me behind him. Gu Nanchuan, what do you think you're doing? Re is a military wife, and her husband is an officer. Don't even think about crossing that line. Gu Nanchuan stared at me blankly. You're married. As she continued, she also noticed my belly that had started to round out. Didn't we agree that you'd wait for me? Why didn't you wait for me? His tears fell. No matter how I look at it, it's disgusting. It was also at this time Fu Ziheng finished his business and came to the office. Seeing this, he walked straight toward me. I just asked for leave from the team. We can go home now. His face was full of tenderness, instantly refreshing my eyes. I immediately went up to him. Okay, sure. He took my hand and politely said goodbye to Teacher Zhao and the others. Wait, I still have something to say to you. Gu Nanchuan called out to stop me. Fu Ziheng frowned slightly and shielded me behind him. What do you need to say to The two stood together. Fu Ziheng was a head taller than Gu Nanchuan. The oppressive aura of his military uniform made it difficult for him to speak. Fu Ziheng curled his lips. If you have nothing to say to my wife, we'll be on our way. No, 56, Xiangzheng Road, Ningzhou Mansion, is mine and Yi's residence. If anything comes up, you're welcome to visit Yi anytime. With that said, Gu Nanchuan's face darkened. Teacher Zhao and the others also exclaimed, a mansion. Fu Ziheng shielded me as we left the office and got into the car. Once the car door was closed, I couldn't help but pat him and say, isn't the 56th mansion the apartment your regiment leader assigned? Why did you have to brag like that just to spite him? He raised an eyebrow, revealing his shoulder insignia. I just got promoted, haven't had a chance to tell you yet. Pretty impressive. My eyes widened. Really? What did you do to suddenly become a regiment leader? He curled his lips. During this 8-month deployment, I earned a first-class merit. I immediately grew worried and began feeling around his body. Sure enough, I found a hole on his chest. I lifted his shirt and saw the twisted, scarred wound. At that moment, my whole body felt hot. What first-class merit? Who asked you to come back with a medal? It's not like I meant to earn the merit. I just always stay prepared. And before I knew it, I had done it. Well, the house at No. 56 mansion just came in. You can live in it if you want, or you don't have to go there if you don't feel like it. Hey, honey, don't cry. I'm sorry. Just now, I was too busy showing off in front of that rival. Didn't think about the consequences. Honey, woo-woo, stop crying. I'm sorry. The baby is still in your belly. I was crying so hard I could barely breathe. What if you die? Wouldn't I become a widow? No, that won't happen. When I got shot, my mind was full of you. The thought of you made me determined to live. Before he could finish his words, I suddenly felt a contraction in my belly. I didn't have time to cry anymore and shouted, "Fu Zihuan, to the hospital, hurry to the hospital, I'm about to give birth." Fu Zihuan was startled and quickly told the driver to head to the hospital. This time, it was Fu Zihuan's turn to cry. The labor lasted 5 hours. Mother and daughter landed safely. As Fu Ziheng was kissing his daughter, the driver who brought us to the hospital complained to both sets of parents. "You have no idea," the driver said. At first, it was the wife crying so hard it made my heart tremble. Then it was Commander Fu's turn to cry, and his sobbing nearly made my heart leap out of my chest. Driving that car was nerve-wracking. It was torture for me. Because of the baby's birth, Fu Ziheng's leave this time was extended a bit longer, but due to the heavy workload, as a key figure, he was bound to take on more responsibilities as a military spouse. Naturally, I could only support him as the child grew up day by day. The young people who had been sent to the countryside gradually returned to the city. The moment Teacher Zhao returned to the city, he sought me out for a reunion. Occasionally, when we talked about the past, we also mentioned Gu Nanchuan and Li Pan'er. They said the two had still gotten their marriage certificate and tied the knot, but their life was not going well, and they quarreled every day. Later, over something as trivial as 2 yuan, Gu Nanchuan hacked Li Pan'er to death with a knife. Because the nature of the crime was too heinous, Gu Nanchuan was also arrested and executed by firing squad. You're really the lucky one, getting married and having kids early, with great in-laws, wonderful parents, and an even better child and husband. Every time we mention you, we're just so envious. We're all green with envy, I teased. Teacher Zhao, it's been a while, want me to set you up with someone? Teacher Zhao waved her hand repeatedly. No, marriage is all about luck, and I don't have your good fortune. After the chat, I asked the driver who had always been with Fu Ziheng to take Teacher Zhao home later. Somehow Teacher Zhao got in touch with that driver, and before long, she remarried. Even though Teacher Zhao had always been resistant to a second marriage, but when fate comes, there's no stopping it. That's wonderful, everyone is happy. Story 2. My name is Barbara, and I'm a leopard cat. My owner is dying. Once, her elder foster brother doted on her the most, but now he shuns her like she's a venomous snake. Just die quickly, don't let me see you still alive. Galen's disgust became the last straw that broke her when Jessica was on the verge of death. I was running around in a panic. A stray little orange cat asked me curiously if she was my mom. Welcome to our channel. Awesome love story are waiting for you every day. Subscribe today to never miss a beat. Bah, she's just a weak human, but she's the one I'll protect for a lifetime. My name is Barbara, and I pride myself on being an all-powerful leopard cat. Recently, I've detected a strange, putrid smell on my mistress Jessica. She's dying. I quickly went on high alert, vigilantly guarding the end of her bed every night, vowing to keep her out of any danger. But her complexion grew more and more haggard, and her body became weaker and weaker until one day, I heard her call her foster brother Galen, saying that she was ill and needed an operation, and required a relative to accompany her. Ever since we were little, whenever something happened to you, you'd feign illness to get attention. The hospital. Jessica, haven't you gotten tired of this trick yet? Just die quickly, don't let me see you still alive. The voice on the other end of the phone was full of disgust and coldness, making her already frail body tremble even more. I immediately rushed over and clung to her trouser leg. I'm her relative. If Galen doesn't care about her, I'll go with her. There's no one else by her side except me. Her biological parents abandoned her, and her adoptive parents disliked her. Even the foster brother, who was the only one who ever doted on her, doesn't want her anymore. I anxiously circled around her legs. Jessica sold all the gifts Galen had given her over the years and barely scraped together the operation fee. The day before the operation, she made one last call to him. You know, I'm having an appendicitis operation tomorrow, so you're having an operation too, is that it? Jessica, aren't you being ridiculous? At that moment, how I wished I could grab the phone and defend her. Clearly, Galen used to dote on her so much. Now that she's sick, why is he abandoning her? I'd never seen her cry like this, afraid that she might do something stupid. I carefully lay on her body, unwilling to move. Barbara, if I'm gone, there'll be no one to take care of you. You're old. If you go stray, you definitely won't be able to grab any food, so I must stay alive. She hugged me, and her tears soaked my fur. She's so silly. I'm a strong leopard cat. If I were to go stray, all the cats within 5 miles would have to call me Queen Barbara. But, fortunately, she's silly. With this reason to live, even if it's for me. After the operation, she grew thinner and thinner. The torture of the illness made the smiles on her face fewer and fewer. I curled my tail into a hook, then lay on the ground and rolled over to expose my belly. and then chased my own tail and bit it. She was amused by me and called me over. I leaned into her arms and rubbed my head against her. Accompanying her seemed to be the only thing I could do during this time. It wasn't that Galen never contacted her. It was just that she was writhing in pain from the illness and missed his calls. When she called back, Galen thought she was being willful on purpose and lashed out at her. Not giving her any chance to explain, I angrily drew a circle in my heart to curse him. If he won't listen to people, he might as well be deaf. Barbara, actually, it doesn't hurt here at all. Jessica gently placed her hand on my back and pointed at her heart. I stared carefully into her eyes, and only when I was sure there were no tears did I feel somewhat relieved. It was a long time later that I realized, how could it not hurt? She was just numbed by the pain of the illness and couldn't tell where it hurt. After Jessica was discharged from the hospital, Galen's assistant called her. Supposedly, Galen wanted to apologize for some of the things he'd said before. Someone would come to pick her up today. I felt a vague sense of unease. I bit her trouser leg and pawed at it in a fluster. Barbara, are you worried about me? Jessica bent down and rubbed my head. It's okay, don't worry, you know how good brother used to be to me. Maybe he was just in a bad mood recently. Jessica comforted me. Actually, these words were also comforting herself. I couldn't ignore the joy in Jessica's eyes. She was truly looking forward to seeing Galen. She excitedly dug out the indigo long dress that Galen had given her from the cabinet. To scrape together the medical expenses, she'd sold many things, but this dress she couldn't bear to part with. Barbara, quickly help me take a look. Which wig looks the best? Is it this big wavy one, or this straight black one? Jessica's hair had all fallen out, and there were only newly grown black stubbles on her head. Actually, she looked good no matter what in my eyes, but under Jessica's expectant gaze, I walked over with my cat paws and chose the straight black one. She hadn't fully recovered from her serious illness and had lost her vitality, so this one was refreshing. Before leaving, I kept circling around her legs until she picked me up. I immediately put my 2 paws on her shoulders, which could lighten her burden and also let me lean steadily. Jessica understood what I meant. Barbara, I really can't do anything about you. Let's go see brother together. You mustn't abandon me when you see him. Sensing the fluctuations in Jessica's emotions, I quickly leaned towards her and gently kissed her face. The one who came was indeed the driver who often drove for Galen. My guard was somewhat lowered, but I still felt something was off. Galen had long bought a new villa in the south of the city, but for the sake of his sister Rita, he didn't really live here. The place the driver brought us to was Galen's own villa. At the entrance of the villa were Jessica's favorite rabbit dolls, along with flowers and balloons. It showed Galen's thoughtfulness everywhere. Perhaps I was really too on edge. Jessica held me and nervously stepped up the stairs. The moment she opened the door, her smile froze. Surprise. Rita stood brightly in the villa with her little girlfriends. The streamers exploded, covering Jessica all over. Everyone, quickly, let's welcome my sister together. Rita's crisp laughter was like a string of harsh notes, echoing in the house. Jessica suppressed her emotions and looked around hopefully, determining that the long-awaited figure wasn't there. She turned around dejectedly. If brother isn't here, then I'll leave first. Jessica, did I say you could leave? Rita yanked her back forcefully. The already weak Jessica was directly dragged to the ground. Her arm was scraped, oozing a little blood under Rita's instruction. Those little girlfriends surrounded Jessica, not giving her a chance to escape. Rita, what are you doing? Jessica nervously and carefully held me in her arms, afraid I'd get hurt. I have my sister's diary here. Let me read it to everyone. Hearing the word diary, Jessica struggled to grab it, and a sharp high heel kicked her directly in the stomach. May 23rd, it's cloudy. I had a heavy period and a lot of bleeding, and my stomach hurt terribly. Brother bought me sanitary pads and made me brown sugar water. It's so nice to have a brother. I hope I can always be by his side. October 16th, it's sunny. I fainted at school, and brother carried me to the infirmary. When I woke up, brother was sitting beside me, looking at me with concern. I felt my heart beating so fast. February 26th, the college entrance examination is coming up soon. I want to stay in the city where brother is. After the college entrance examination, I'll tell him the secret in my heart. July 1st, I decided to bury the secret in my heart. Maybe, as long as I can quietly stay by his side and see him, that's enough. September 2nd, I have a home, together with brother. Our home, I hope time can stop at this moment forever. October 29th, someone asked me if I liked my brother. What counts as liking? I want to be with brother for a lifetime. Does that count as liking? My acquiescent reaction was seen by brother, and his eyes were full of disgust. Brother hates me. December 31st, brother hasn't come to see me for a long time, and he refuses to see me. I miss him so much." As Rita read, the disgust in her eyes grew even stronger. I didn't expect that a slut like her would write even slutty words. "Rita, it's so funny. Is she really your sister?" The sharp mocking voices around trampled Jessica into the mud. "Sister, she doesn't deserve it. She's just a mongrel with no blood relation, sponging off our family." Rita took another glass of red wine and poured it directly onto Jessica's face. "Let me see how much sluttier it can get later. Rita, I beg you, don't." Jessica's voice was full of extreme pleading, but this show of weakness only made Rita more excited. Rita continued to flip through the diary, seeing that the last few pages were full of Galen's name. She got even more agitated. She tore it into pieces and threw them at Jessica. "I'd heard that you liked my brother. I didn't expect it to be true." The diary was disgustedly thrown on the ground, and Rita ground it with her feet. "Jessica, you're really disgusting." Jessica was trembling all over. She laboriously crawled on the ground, stretching out her hand to reach for the diary, but Rita stepped on her fingers. The pain made her body suddenly go limp, and her hand holding me was forced to let go. I suddenly jumped up and bit Rita's arm and neck like crazy. Thinking of her haughty face just now, I raised my sharp claws and scratched her face. Rita was completely unprepared. Under my furious attack, she was covered in scratches. She got so angry that she picked up a stick to beat me to death. Somehow, Jessica broke free from the restraint and rushed over, knocking Rita down. Galen happened to open the door and walked in, witnessing this scene. "Jessica, what are you doing?" Seeing Galen, Rita immediately flung herself at him, sobbing as she accused, "Brother, Jessica hurt me and made this cat attack me. I'm covered in wounds. And my face, am I going to be disfigured?" "She's lying. It was she who bullied Jessica." I stood behind Galen with my fur puffed up, constantly growling. "This little beast is wild and untamed. It should have been killed long ago. It's the same as Jessica. Neither of them is any good." Rita covered her wounds, looking at me with venomous eyes. "Barbara has always been gentle." Galen hesitated, when his eyes fell on the disheveled Jessica. A hint of heartache flashed in his eyes just as he was about to step forward. Rita roared madly, "Brother, I'm like this, and you still want to defend her? I'm your real sister. Or, do you like her too? You like the sister you raised. That's why you're so cold to me. Your real sister. She wanted the cat to bite me to death, and you don't care." Rita's agitated words made Galen unconsciously take 2 steps back. He didn't dare to look at Jessica anymore. "Brother," she called out. But after a long time, there was no response from Galen. "Brother, I'm sick. I'm dying. Please save me." "Okay." Jessica's face grew paler and paler, and blood seeped from the corner of her mouth. I anxiously tugged at Galen's trouser leg. I felt Galen's body suddenly go rigid, but he still didn't dare to look at her. "Brother, I have cancer. I'm dying, but I don't want to die. I want to be with you forever." Jessica was crying so hard that she could hardly breathe. All the grievances welled up when she saw the person she relied on the most, but the more intense her emotions were, the more Galen wanted to avoid her. Rita and her little girlfriends exchanged glances and fainted at the right moment. "Rita," with exclamations of shock, Galen hurriedly picked up Rita, looking at Jessica with utter disappointment in his eyes. "Jessica, you'd better pray that Rita is okay. I really regret being soft-hearted towards you for a moment. Are you dying? Then just go ahead and die." These words were like a boulder weighing thousands of pounds, completely crushing Jessica's hopes at this moment. The person she cherished the most only left her with his back. I watched as her frail shoulders trembled more and more violently. "Barbara, from today on, I no longer have a brother." She took off her wig and curled up into a ball. After a long while, she finally mustered the strength to stand up. Jessica was the adopted daughter of the big family after they lost their own daughter. After the real daughter, Rita, was found, she became an outcast. Only Galen still cared about her as always. "I'm Barbara. She and Galen rescued me when I was a stray cat. She couldn't fit into the harmonious family, and I was homeless, huddled under a car, almost freezing to death. Jessica arrived before death did and saved me, but no one expected that Rita would be afraid of cats." 10-year-old Jessica hid me in her clothes and stood at the entrance of the villa, at a loss. "I told you to send it away, but you refused, saying that even if it wasn't blood-related, there was still a bond. Now look at what it's done. Rita has already suffered so much. If she gets scared and something bad happens to her, how can we face her?" Father Lynn scolded Mother Lynn harshly. Even though he didn't direct any harsh words at Jessica, every word was like a dagger to the heart, as if announcing to everyone that she was a burden to the family. "This is my cat. It has nothing to do with Jessica." Galen rushed out, picked me up in his arms, and took the blame upon himself. Because of this incident, 13-year-old Galen was punished to kneel for an hour by Father Lin in the end. A cat house was built for me in the backyard of the villa later. I realized that Rita wasn't afraid of cats, she was afraid that Jessica would steal the love that originally belonged to her in this family in those years. With Galen's protection, Jessica could still find a bit of warmth in this family. He truly cared about her. After Jessica went to university, Galen even rented a house near the university so that she could take me with her. Galen would often come over, and we were like a happy family of three, no longer having to be cautious about others' attitudes. However, everything changed when she was 19 that day. Jessica fainted at school and was sent to the hospital. Galen rushed there, and fortunately, it was just a false alarm due to low blood sugar, but Rita was almost bullied for real. Galen felt guilty, and a rift gradually grew between them. Later, she was cornered by her classmates and asked if she liked her brother. She blushed and didn't dare to respond. That's so shameless, having such disgusting thoughts about her own brother. This scene was seen by Galen, who had come to pick her up. He, too, thought she was disgusting, just like those people. From that day on, the Galen who doted on Jessica disappeared and never came back. The putrid smell on Jessica grew stronger. Those torturous treatments only briefly prolonged her life. She was so young. I didn't want her to die. I'd seen the doctors in white coats hired by the big family bring Grandpa back from the brink of death. Another time, Jessica had a high fever, her body was scaldingly hot, and she was even delirious. Her adoptive parents and the big family were too busy with work and didn't want to care about her. It was Galen who found a capable doctor and saved her. If he knew that Jessica was truly ill, maybe he wouldn't treat her like this. He would save her, taking advantage of the moment. The nurse opened the door. I darted out, following the route I remembered. I ran towards the big family's villa. The outside smells were too mixed, and I got lost for a while. Before I knew it, it was getting dark, and I had no idea how far I was from the big family's villa. My stomach was growling with hunger. A kind vendor threw a piece of meat on the ground. I rushed over, but was knocked down hard by a vicious yellow dog. After it had its fill, I could only lick up a few scraps of meat. I hadn't been a stray cat for so long that my fighting skills had deteriorated a great deal. I was almost captured by a cat dealer on the way. Fortunately, Big Huang, who had fought with me for food, saved me. He also saved some other cats. Apart from a few scrawny orange cats that looked like clones, there was even a rare ragdoll cat, the blue fatty, wandering around. Hearing that I was going to a faraway place, they all wanted to come with me. Sure enough, wherever I, Queen Barbara, go, with a wave of my paw, many little brothers would follow. You guys, don't get caught by the cat dealers again. I'm bored of this place anyway. It might be nice to go on an adventure with you. Big Huang offered to escort us. I moved aside and glanced sideways. I just had a moment of bad luck. But if you want to come, suit yourself. I was a bit reluctant to admit that I was out of form, but to be fair, looks can be deceiving. Although he looked fierce, he was a good dog. Queen Barbara, are you sure you remember the right way? We've been walking for ages. 1 dog and 8 cats limped along, from dawn to dusk, and then from dusk to dawn. The blue fatty was so tired that it panted and mumbled. A pink Porsche Panamera sped by. It was Rita's car. Familiar memories flooded back into my mind. I was going in the right direction. Jessica had taken me down this road countless times. I started running forward excitedly, just a bit faster, and I could see Galen and tell him about Jessica's illness. Where did this filthy cat come from? I'd just sneaked into the yard when Rita flipped me over with a golf club. The long journey had left me too weak to resist. I froze in place, my tail fluffed up, and could only make threatening noises with my mouth. So it's you, that little beast. Rita recognized me. What, did Jessica abandon you? Want to come back to my brother? You're as despicable as Jessica, always pestering my brother. You even dared to bite me last time. Blow after blow landed heavily on my back. Now that you're in my hands, I'll beat you to death. It's just a cat. No one will care if it dies. You should have died long ago. I thought I was really going to die at Rita's hands this time. Then Big Huang's barking came closer, and a few scrawny orange cats and the blue fatty pounced on her. Rita was so scared that she fell to the ground. Run! At Big Huang's urgent shout, I struggled to get up and fled the big family's villa with them. Rita chased after us with the security guards, and we all got injured one after another. Big Huang led us to his secret base, a dilapidated tile-roofed house. After a few days of recuperating, I firmly refused to let them accompany me to find Galen anymore. Wait for me. When Jessica gets better, I'll come back for you. I puffed out my chest and promised I, Queen Barbara, always keep my word. I will repay your kindness for saving me. Jessica was very kind. Maybe she could help me find a safe home for them. Queen Barbara, is Jessica your mom? The youngest orange kitten asked me curiously. I tilted my head and thought for a long time. Bah, she's just a weak human. She's the one I want to protect for a lifetime. I left my mom when I was little. I don't need such mushy names. From the moment she saved me, I'd made up my mind to protect her for the rest of my life, even if it cost me my life. With Rita at the big family's villa, I didn't dare to go back there. I remembered that Galen often went to a certain building. After staggering around for a long time following my memory, I finally found the place. The door was tightly shut, so I hid nearby. It wasn't until evening that Galen came out. He was in a suit, looking all proper. Seeing him so relaxed, and then thinking about the pain Jessica was suffering in the hospital, and the words he'd said, all my anger welled up. I bared my teeth, aimed at his ankle, and charged forward with all my might. Galen, be careful, the assistant exclaimed and picked up the folder in his hand to hit me. My tail fluffed up completely. I glared at them ferociously and took another bite at Galen. Where did this wild cat come from? The security guards nearby heard the commotion and came running, sticks in hand. What are you people doing? Get rid of this unruly cat quickly. The assistant snapped and gave me a hard kick. I sharpened my claws and made intimidating noises. Barbara, Galen frowned in pain as he looked at me. Do you know Jessica is dying? Why did you treat her like that? Do you know how sad she was when you said those things in the hospital for months? She hovered on the verge of death countless times, and you still kept hurting her. Go to hell, I cursed and vented my rage, digging the ground frantically with my front paws. Galen dismissed the others and reached out to pick me up. I seized the chance and lashed out at his neck. His suit sleeve was shredded by me. The bloody scratches made me feel a bit better. It was a pity that he was too quick, and I didn't get to scratch his face. Is this how Jessica takes care of you? Galen pinched the back of my neck, looked me over, and said unhappily, how long have you been wandering? You're so full of hostility. You're also injured. What has she been doing lately? Doesn't she know you could die if you got lost? She took very good care of me, but she's sick, seriously ill. I whimpered. Maybe Galen didn't understand me. Galen, perhaps we should put it in a cage first. No, drive to Carnaby Street. Galen sat in the back of the car with me in his arms, pinning down my limbs so I couldn't move. Carnaby Street was the home of Jessica and me. There were Jessica's medical records in the house. The house still reeked of the hospital smell that I hated. As long as he went there, he was bound to notice something was wrong. If he knew that Jessica was truly ill and not lying, everything would be okay. Galen opened the door with me in his arms and found the place empty. His expression grew even more displeased. It's so late and she's not home. What on earth is Jessica doing all day? I couldn't read the emotions in Galen's eyes. I just found his words extremely harsh and grating. I scurried around the house anxiously, trying to find Jessica's medical records, but Galen blocked my way. Don't run around. Your wound is bleeding again. Galen held my head down. I was so anxious that I snapped and bit randomly. Soon, I was subdued by the pet doctor and wrapped up tightly. Barbara. Jessica's voice came from the feeder. My ears perked up immediately. Meow. I hadn't heard her voice for so long. I missed her so much. Jessica, if you can't take good care of Barbara, I'll consider taking it away. And what about the things I gave you? Are you that short of money? Isn't the monthly allowance enough? Don't tell me you spent all your money on this gaudy, useless junk. Galen angrily hooked the wig hanging on the wall, threw it on the ground, his eyes dark and unfathomable. Jessica's voice was weak. She took a breath and said with a hint of self-mockery, I'm sick, but you won't believe me, will you? I propped myself up on my front paws, looking at Galen expectantly, hoping he'd listen to Jessica a bit more, hoping he'd discover the truth soon. However, Galen had a sarcastic look on his face, full of disappointment. Did your bad friends teach you to say this, Jessica? Once a lie is told too many times, no one will believe it. I don't care what you're doing. Get back here right now. It's Rita's birthday tonight. I don't have time to waste here. With that, Galen glanced at the time on his phone and turned to leave. I dragged my aching body with all my might, bit the bag with Jessica's medical records, and dragged it to the door. I watched helplessly as those feet stepped out of the door. A single door cut off the truth of Jessica's illness. I dug at the door frantically, and my wounds reopened. Ignoring the pain, I felt nothing but helplessness and despair. Why couldn't he just look back? Jessica was really sick. She wasn't lying. Today was also Jessica's birthday. Meow. Not long after, Aunt Betty, the caregiver, came back and picked me up into her arms lovingly. Under Jessica's arrangement, she took me to the pet hospital again. It was only after I'd fully recovered from my injuries that she brought me to the hospital to see Jessica. I then learned that Jessica had almost fainted that day because I went missing. What Galen said had sent her back into the emergency room once more. Alas, young people these days treat their cats like children. It's just a little unimportant animal, and she's sick herself. Aunt Betty shook her head, looking rather helpless. How can your body withstand such a pain? Hearing this, I felt extremely guilty. If I hadn't gone to find Galen, none of this would have happened. I crept up to her side and whimpered remorsefully. From now on, I would never run around again. Barbara and Jessica would never be separated. After coming back from the hospital this time, Jessica got a lot of medicine, enough to support her to go wherever she wanted. The doctor knew that Jessica wanted to travel and didn't try to stop her. You can go and see any place you've always wanted to visit. After having enough fun, remember to come back. I'll prepare the medicine for your next treatment course in advance. I understood the doctor's hidden meaning. Jessica's illness was very difficult to cure, and she didn't have much time left. The doctor wouldn't stop Jessica from fulfilling her wishes. However, she gave Jessica an extra glimmer of hope, hinting that she should remember to come back. Jessica hugged me and nodded, making a decision. Barbara, I might not be able to keep you anymore. I found you a new owner. Jessica gently rubbed my ears and scratched my chin skillfully. Meow, meow, meow. I couldn't care less about enjoying it and hastily refused. I didn't want a new owner. She was my only owner. I wanted to stay by her side all the time and drive away the bad guys who made her sick. My resistance was in vain. The new owner Jessica found for me still came. I was quite old and not a pedigree cat, so not many people were willing to take me. Jessica went to many pet hospitals and asked many people before finally finding a family that would accept me. It was an elderly couple who seemed very kind. Jessica said they would be very nice to me, but I couldn't leave. If I left, she would be all alone. I deliberately put on a fierce look, kept baring my teeth and hissing, and successfully scared the couple away. Barbara, if you keep this up, I'll throw you out. Jessica scolded me angrily, but tears welled up in her eyes, and she sobbed. That's just how she was, tough on the outside but soft on the inside, never willing to let me suffer. Was there any other way to save her? I remembered what I'd said to Big Huang, the scrawny orange cats, and the ragdoll cat that day. Is your owner very sick? Yes, very sick, but I'll definitely find a way to save her. If you sincerely make a wish to the cat god, it will come true. But I don't know where the cat god is. Maybe on the highest mountain, maybe at the bottom of the deepest water, maybe in the most beautiful flower field, maybe it's hidden in our hearts. Jessica took me to many places, seeing mountains, rivers, flower fields, and sea of clouds, and even conquered a few small mountains. Everywhere we went, I would silently make a wish in my heart. I hoped that Jessica could live a healthy life if something needed to be exchanged. Then take Barbara's life. Since Jessica saved me, I'd lived many extra years. No matter how you calculated it, I was the one who got the better deal. Later one day, we tried to save a wild kitten and accidentally walked into a wild mountain. Her phone had no signal. After the mountain keeper rescued us, Jessica was exhausted and was sent to the hospital. Her condition suddenly deteriorated sharply, and she was urgently transferred from the county hospital to the city hospital and never got out of danger. Fortunately, Aunt Betty was afraid that Jessica might do something stupid, so she'd been quietly following us. After Jessica had the accident, she was also the one who took me to transfer her to different hospitals. The operation requires a family member to sign the consent form. I'm her family member. She has authorized me. I can sign, and I'll take all the responsibilities. Aunt Betty's voice was hoarse as she kept wiping away her tears. Finally, Galen believed that Jessica was sick. Jessica's university counselor wanted to ask about her situation but couldn't reach her, so he called Galen. A counselor wouldn't lie about Jessica taking a sick leave from university. When Galen arrived at the hospital, Jessica hadn't passed the critical period yet. Hearing that he was Jessica's brother, Aunt Betty was instantly filled with anger. What kind of brother are you? She's so sick. She had to do all the examinations, operations, and hospital stays alone. She's still so young. How scared she must have been. In the same ward as Jessica, everyone had their relatives by their side, only she was all alone. Aunt Betty cried until she almost fainted but didn't dare to collapse. If she also fell, who would take care of Jessica? After getting along for these few months, she had long regarded Jessica as her family. Galen let Aunt Betty hit him with a broom. Finally, the nurse came to break it up, and it stopped. Sir, do you want to have an examination? Galen waved his hand, refusing the nurse's inquiry. Standing in front of the glass window, he stared at Jessica, who was covered in monitoring instruments. His eyes were bloodshot. Jessica's body was as thin as a sheet of paper, lying pale on the hospital bed with her eyes closed. Only the slightly rising and falling of her chest indicated that her life was still flowing. Galen punched the wall. The skin on his knuckles was scraped off, revealing the white bones, and bright red blood dripped onto the floor through his fingers. He Didn't get any treatment even though the wound might get infected. It was as if the pain on his body could replace the pain on Jessica's. Looking at his meaningless repentance, I was filled with hatred. Human behavior was always so hard to understand. Before, I didn't understand why Galen suddenly shunned Jessica like a snake or a scorpion. He pushed Jessica away and hurt her again and again. Now, I still didn't understand why he was putting on this pained look of extreme regret. I kept scratching Galen's trouser legs and angrily gnawed at his ankles. When Jessica was in the most pain and needed her relatives the most, it was he who hurt her deeply. Now, what was the use of all this? Galen transferred Jessica to the best hospital and the best ward, just as I had once hoped. He arranged the best medical team. Galen, we've done our best. They said that the bad things in Jessica's body had started to spread everywhere. At the latest, she might not live past this new year. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Galen held Jessica's hand and choked out apologies over and over again. Jessica slowly opened her eyes, looking at Galen. There was only numbness in her eyes. Didn't you tell me to die? I'm dying. Why aren't you happy? Are you disappointed that I'm still alive? Galen's voice trembled, with deep self-reproach on his face. Jessica, brother will definitely save you. When you feel a bit better, I'll take you abroad. I'll find the best medicine for you. I'll make sure you live well. I'd never seen Galen cry. Now, his eyes were blurred with tears. The tears fell on Jessica's wrist along his jaw. Jessica was so startled that she withdrew her hand. I don't have a brother. Jessica's voice was weak as she slowly looked away. Galen might have forgotten. I'm an orphan. Jessica tightly grasped the edge of the bed. The blood pressure value on the heart monitor kept rising, and the alarm went off. The nurse rushed over and asked Galen to leave the ward for several consecutive days. Jessica refused to see Galen. Galen picked up Jessica's diary and rubbed his fingers over it again and again. Galen didn't allow anyone to tell Jessica what the doctor said, but after being sick for so long, how could Jessica not know about her own physical condition? I don't want to die in the hospital. This was Jessica's last request to Galen. At first, Galen didn't agree, but Rita somehow found her way to the hospital and almost killed Jessica. Jessica, what kind of magic potion did you give my brother? He doesn't go home now, and he doesn't go to the company either. If I hadn't pried it out of his secretary, I wouldn't have known that he's been guarding you in the hospital every day, to make up for losing her when she was little. The big family had been extremely indulgent and doting on her over the years. It had made her arrogant and domineering. As soon as Rita arrived, she tried to pull off the instruments on Jessica. I was guarding Jessica's bedside but was kicked into the corner by her. I stumbled several times and couldn't get up. Fortunately, Aunt Betty fought to protect her, preventing a major disaster. Galen heard the commotion and came over, so angry that he slapped Rita. Stop making trouble. Rita covered her face, looking at Galen in disbelief. I just wanted to see if she was faking it, and you hit me for her. Jessica is your sister. Are you trying to kill her? Killing is illegal. The big family can't protect you forever. Rita, it's time for you to grow up. Galen's cold face was filled with rage. It was the first time he'd been so angry with Rita. I didn't do it on purpose. She's not my sister. You want me to treat her like a sister, but have you ever treated her like a sister? Don't think I don't know your secret. It's better if she dies. Only then will you wake up and not make the big family a laughingstock. Rita screamed hysterically. My business is none of your business. Galen sent Rita back to the big family and finally agreed to Jessica's wish and took her out of the hospital. Actually, Galen had already sought out many experts everywhere. I secretly overheard the answer. Jessica's life was counting down. Galen had a strand of white hair on his head. He stayed outside Jessica's room all night, unwilling to leave. Every day, I made a wish in my heart. Barbara was willing to exchange my life, praying that Jessica could be carefree, happy, and healthy. But when would the all-powerful cat god fulfill my wish? Jessica was placed in Galen's villa by Galen, with a full medical team. Being able to sense the approach of death was a kind of helpless despair. Aunt Betty, can you take a picture for me? Jessica was rarely able to get out of bed by herself. I was held in her arms again after a long time. I greedily rubbed against her. Aunt Betty took Jessica's phone and took a photo of us. Jessica's phone was full of pictures of me. From when I was little until now, she would quickly take pictures of every moment she found interesting. Human behavior was really hard to understand. Jessica's adoptive parents in the big family came to see her once but were turned away by Galen on New Year's Eve. Jessica said she wanted to eat cake from a place very far away and asked Galen to go buy it. I felt a pang of panic, bid Aunt Betty to come over, and stayed close to Jessica. But in just a split second of distraction, Jessica's hand fell heavily, brushing past my eyes. Beep beep beep. Her heart stopped. The first time I faced a human's death, and It was Jessica, the person I loved the most. At first, I wasn't as sad as I'd imagined. Jessica lay there, just like she was asleep. I crawled into her arms as usual and gently rubbed against her, but she didn't smile and reach out to stroke my head, saying, "Barbara, stop it." I slowly got up again, licked her arm, and gently nibbled on it with my teeth. She still didn't respond. I carefully stretched my paw towards Jessica's lips before, no matter how sleepy she was, she would open her eyes at this moment and ask me, "Are you hungry?" Then she would get up to check if there was any food in the automatic feeder, but this time, she still didn't respond. I put my paw under Jessica's nose for the first time. There was no warm breath. I couldn't even feel the rise and fall of her body with her breathing as I lay on her. Jessica was truly dead. Galen rushed back with the cake and, as if having a premonition, dropped to his knees outside the door until the very last moment of her life. Jessica deliberately sent Galen away because he was the last person she wanted to see. After handling Jessica's funeral affairs, Galen took me in Jessica's ashes and walked through the places Jessica had been to during her lifetime again and again, following the paths she had walked. He knelt down step by step until his knees were festering. Humans always only wake up to their senses after losing something, but I, a cat, only wanted Jessica to live a carefree life. It was just this one unready wish. Why couldn't it come true? Galen jumped off the mountaintop with Jessica's ashes in his arms. Suddenly, flowers bloomed all over the mountains. Jessica seemed to be standing among the flowers, waving at me. "Barbara, don't cry, a leopard cat that can go to the heavens and earth, the all-powerful Queen Barbara among cats. How can you cry?" I frantically ran towards her direction. I seemed to faintly hear the little orange cat asking me timidly, "Queen Barbara, is Jessica your mom?" I said, "Just a weak human, the one I wanted to protect for a lifetime." Also, my mom. An intense sense of weightlessness jolted me awake. I was lying on Jessica, and her body was rising and falling gently with her breathing. She was still alive, but my eyelids were so heavy that I could hardly open them. I seemed a bit greedy. I still wanted to look at her again. "Barbara, don't scare me." Jessica held me, her voice panicked and choked. She tumbled off the bed and hoarsely called for Aunt Betty. The New Year's bells rang, and the fireworks by the river illuminated half of the sky. I could imagine how beautiful those fireworks were. It was so nice. Jessica could watch such beautiful fireworks for me in the future. Due to the intense emotions, Jessica almost went into shock. After a night of rescue in the hospital, she safely passed the critical period. Surprisingly, the cancer cells in her body were being devoured. Her body was actually healing on its own. It was like a miracle. At the nearby pet hospital, the body of a leopard cat slowly grew cold. On the night Jessica survived death, it never woke up again. Some people said that when a healthy cat suddenly died, it was taking the disaster for its owner, helping her get through the life-threatening tribulation. Barbara didn't know what a disaster or a tribulation was. As long as Jessica could live, I didn't care about anything. When the pet doctor announced my death, Aunt Betty just couldn't believe it. Those who used to think I was an unimportant little animal were now shedding tears. They were so anxious that they even gave me artificial respiration. How could it die? It was fine yesterday, able to eat, run, and jump. "You must have made a mistake. Say that again." Aunt Betty, who already felt sorry for Jessica, now seemed even more broken and haggard, but my gradually cooling body forced her to accept this fact. Aunt Betty carried me to the hospital where Jessica was being rescued. Hearing the news that Jessica was getting better, she was so excited that her eyes turned red, and she didn't know how to mention my death. "Leave Barbara to me." Galen took my body from Aunt Betty's arms. I knew he wouldn't tell Jessica about me. Jessica was lying quietly in the ward, breathing evenly. I crept through the door to her bedside and jumped gently. The sunlight through the curtains fell on her arm, and I slowly leaned against it, but my ears passed through that ray of sunlight, and I could no longer touch her. I quietly guarded her bedside until she slowly woke up, and I quickly jumped out of her arms. "Barbara, don't be naughty." Jessica's voice made me freeze in midair nervously. Soon, Jessica looked confused. "Who is Barbara?" She asked Aunt Betty about this question later. Aunt Betty choked for a long time, but when the words were on the tip of her tongue, she just couldn't say them. "What's going on?" I'm suddenly a bit sad. "Who is Barbara?" Tears welled up in Aunt Betty's eyes. In the end, Jessica couldn't recall any details, so they let it go. I was taken by Galen to be cremated, and my ashes were made into a pendant. Jessica didn't remember me, but she let Galen put this pendant on her. As Jessica's body gradually recovered, her impression of Galen grew fainter until one day, when she saw Galen approaching, she instinctively stepped back. "I don't have a brother. Who are you?" Galen's face turned pale, and his eyes were full of pain. The doctor said that perhaps the body's defense mechanism was triggered during the recovery process, and the patient would instinctively forget some Painful memories. She forgot me and also forgot Galen. It was so nice this way. She could live a carefree life. I followed the cat god to the cat star at ease. Before leaving, I couldn't help but think greedily that it would have been nice if I could have accompanied her until she grew old. I still wanted to call her Mom. I had too many wishes. I was a bit greedy. My name is Jessica, and I'm an orphan. I was adopted by the big family since I was a child. After Rita came back, I became a burden to the big family. From then on, in this family, only my elder brother Galen would take care of me and care about me. I never expected much, but after he discovered my secret, he, like the others, thought I was disgusting. During my university years, I was diagnosed with cancer. I didn't want to die. I was so scared. I wanted to beg him to help me, to beg the only relative I had in this world to accompany me. Ever since we were little, whenever something happened to you, you'd feign illness to get attention. The hospital. Jessica, haven't you gotten tired of this trick yet? Just die quickly. Don't let me see you still alive. Those cold and disgusted words were like sharp claws tearing at my heart. The intense pain spread to my limbs, like a bottomless pit of despair, slowly swallowing me. Later, he personally extinguished my last hope. I told myself that from that day on, I had no relatives and no brother. Alone like duckweed, drifting wherever the wind took me, I sensed that my life was coming to an end. But in the end, the last person I wanted to see was Galen. I deliberately sent him away and faced death calmly, but I didn't die unexpectedly. My body also gradually started to recover, which was called a medical miracle. I pretended to forget Galen. In this lifetime, I didn't want to have any emotional entanglement with him, but it seemed that I really had forgotten something. I looked at every corner of the ward, eager to retrieve the lost memories. I wanted to know who Barbara was, the name I subconsciously called out in my sleep. After being discharged from the hospital, I returned to my home near the university. It was empty. In the photo album of my phone, there were many pictures of the floor, the table edge, the windowsill. All of them were ordinary, nothing special, but they filled up the memory of my phone. In the picture where I was smiling brightly at the camera, there seemed to be something missing beside me. Unconsciously, I bought an automatic feeder, a litter box, cat food. It seemed that these things should have been in this house all along. Tears instantly filled my eyes and couldn't stop flowing out. That night, I had a dream. I dreamed of a dilapidated tile-roofed house with a big yellow dog and several stray cats in it. By the morning light, I found the place according to the position in my memory. The cats were whispering to each other, not knowing what they were talking about. Is this Queen Barbara's mom? Seems like it. She looks a lot like the one in the picture. Queen Barbara didn't lie to us. She's here to pick us up. Alas, why didn't Queen Barbara come himself? He must be waiting for us at home. So silly. They meowed cutely. I bent down with a smile and used cat treats to lead the stray cats into the pet carriers one by one. Only the big yellow dog beside it was listless, as if sensing some sadness. In low spirits. I must have never raised a dog before. That was my first thought as I clumsily held the big yellow dog's leash. After graduating from university, I accepted the pursuit of a senior. We fell in love, got married, and had a child. The child was born on the first day of the new year. Looking at him, I subconsciously called out that name again. Barbara. This Barbara seemed to have been waiting for a very, very long time.